So to get things started, let's hop in to our map and let us head over to Binthu, which is where we are going to start up our mission. So let's just do a quick recap here of what we're actually expecting to find on this planet. So first mission is going to be that we are going to look at, where was it? I believe it's UNC Cerberus. Admiral Kahoku has given you the coordinates to a research facility run by the Cerberus group. You need to investigate the planet Binthu to find out why Cerberus is unleashing alien monstrosities in the Attican Traverse. Sounds nasty. Something we're going to want to try to get to the bottom of. So let's hop in here. And to Binthu we go. So let's land. Okay, and for our team here, it's probably been the longest since we last used Ashley and Tally, I think. I think Ashley is definitely a good fit for this mission. Tally, a little less so. So we're kind of forcing the issue if we do choose to use her. I think we'll give it a try, but it does mean we're perhaps making things a little more difficult than they have to be in this situation. Probably best to go for someone who's a little bit more either combat-oriented or crowd-control-oriented with biotics, and of course, Tally doesn't really do either of those things. She does a little bit of crowd control with some of her tech abilities, and she can still at least use a shotgun, so she's not dead weight by any means, but probably could do a little bit better if we were trying to optimize the team rather than focus on using people that we just haven't seen in a little while, which is instead what we're going to go with here. So let's hop in. Alright, so we have landed, and we can already see there's at least some stuff directly ahead, but let's take a look at our map here. Because we have actually numerous of these research facilities, so it looks like we're going to want to check out all of those, and then of course anything else that we might happen to find on this planet. So I think what our plan is going to be is, why don't we go for this one first, since I think this is more or less the direction in which we saw the other minerals, so we might as well make sure we get those along the way, and then we'll basically go counterclockwise around here and take them one research facility at a time. So that's that. But then, as I was saying, I think it has been a while since we last used Ashley and since we last used Tally. Yes, 9 skill points and 10 skill points apiece. That is a lot. So let's take a look here at what we might want to do with them, because we have lots of room to mess around a bit here and throw on. I mean, we could potentially even fill I don't think quite this entire category here for Ashley. Then again, this is pistol, so it's probably not what we want anyways, but I think we were considering trying to unlock shotguns next, because at the moment she's fully upgraded for sniper rifles, and fully upgraded for assault rifles means she's in some ways sort of, along with Garrus, our long-range specialist, but if we can also get her to start mastering some shotgun abilities, then she can become our jack-of-all-trades, at least when it comes to combat. That is, as a soldier, her specialty. So let's get up to rank 4 on pistols to unlock shotguns. And then I think from there, we may just basically go as far as we can go. Just take a quick look at, I'm thinking maybe soldier might be the only other alternative we might consider, giving her a little more health, a little bit more life regeneration. She does, of course, have some, and I think having some is a very big difference from having none. Whereas having a little bit more is, you know, a small luxury, but may not be as big of a deal. So let's at least certainly prioritize the shotguns here. We get to the first round of Carnage, let's see. We go 3 more here, spending all of our points to shotguns. We fall 1 short of Advanced Carnage. Might still be worth trying to do that. I think so. Not necessarily sure we're going to get her all the way up to that final Master Carnage here in the shotguns category. Or if maybe we stop at Advanced Carnage and then from there on out focus on making her a little bit tankier with Soldier. We'll see what we're feeling like doing when we next level up. As for Tally, you have 1 more point than Ashley did, so you have lots of stuff you can do here. So I think for you, similarly, we could start throwing more abilities into shotguns, because you are a tech specialist, of course, but you are somewhat unique in that despite technically not having, or not listing combat as an ability that you have at all, you still do have the shotguns category that we can upgrade, so there is something to be said for that. We could also focus more defensively, just loading up on shields with electronics, or with Quarian Machinist, because both of these give 30 shields per level, and that certainly starts to add up quite a bit. So, depends what direction we want to go in here. I think maybe we even do, in fact, focus on the defenses here, because otherwise, without the shield, she does become somewhat squishy, so to speak. May not go all the way here, perhaps. You know, we'll spend a few points in shotguns to try to get up to, is this enough for advanced carnage? It is. That was totally planned. That was definitely not just a complete coincidence that we had the perfect amount of points to get to advanced carnage. Because, yeah, at least on the shield side, remember, there are some enemies that, with their damage, can completely ignore shields. Their damage just goes right through them. So, that's why it's not the best thing in the world to be loading up on all those shields, because sometimes they're just going to do precisely nothing for you. But when they are relevant, they will add up. So, at least situationally, it means Sally can be very strong. But in some ways, you can make the case she is perhaps the character that is most situational in terms of the times when it is good to use her, because of her defenses, her primary form of defense, those shields, sometimes being great, sometimes being completely useless, and her tech abilities, sometimes, if you're going against synthetic enemies in particular, they are very effective. If you're going against organics, there are some that still work, but they are generally far less powerful. So that's one of the reasons why you just want to be mindful of when and where you do choose to use Sally. But anyways, that's enough of that. Let's get moving here. And like I said, I think we'll start off by hitting these minerals here. And then we'll just take it one research facility at a time. So these, are they kind of up here, perhaps? No, down this little canyon of sorts. Whoa, that was an interesting little camera maneuver there. Threw me a little bit off. Okay, let's nab all that. Picking up some palladium. Palladium? Palladium? I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that, to tell you the truth. Okay, so now let's just gauge, kind of like right in the middle of these two facilities. I was originally saying we would go to this one first. Arguably, we're actually closer to this one. Let's go. I feel like... Oh, not that. I don't feel like doing that. In fact, I accidentally pressed yes, did I not? I did, in fact, press yes. Oopsie daisy. So we'll just, you know, we'll just quickly hop back down and land and pick the same team. And, you know, maybe we were saying how, well, you know, perhaps if we wanted to actually go to that research facility that we were talking about first, then we might have technically gone a little bit too far in the other direction first. Well, now we get the chance to end up back in the middle first. And, I mean, probably still a little bit further away from that research facility anyways, but yeah, so obviously we have still picked up that set of minerals, so that remains done. We'll head in this direction, where we're starting to see signs of enemigos. Usually those big ones mean either large geth or turrets. So let's see what we run into here. Let's just approach with a little bit of caution. And I think the answer is certainly turrets. They're very close together. Can we potentially hit both of them simultaneously? Well, they know we're here now. And I think we did get both of them. Oh no, not quite. Not quite. Still seeing that guy there. Alright. Nice. So then we have this entrance console. Let's just take a quick look around, make sure we're... Ooh, weird sounds. Might have just basically been the sounds of the dying turrets. But yeah, just make sure we aren't missing anything out here. I don't think we are, by the looks of things. It appears as though perhaps it is only those turrets. Just to be sure. Okay, I think we can now say so definitively. Before we hop in here, let's save. Because actually, I believe there is a little bit of a bug with this mission, where in particular, when you're going into the first research facility, there is a non-zero chance that you may need to reload a save. So I would say if you are doing this mission yourself, then worth saving a little bit more aggressively on this planet, Binthu. Okay, and what exactly do we have here? It's the usual science station indoor type base. So, not much that we know of yet, other than just, it means there's a small little entry room here, a foyer, if you will. And then we have the larger area. After that, there's seemingly nothing in here. One thing I will note of is that this mission is, at times, a little bit difficult, and it is somewhat dependent on which characters you take along with you. Like I said, we technically didn't really optimize our team here all that much, at least in the case of Tally. We can now see some red dots. So let's make sure we are armed and dangerous. And we'll leave Tally on the shotgun, that makes sense. Ashley, technically you are stronger with an assault rifle than you are with a sniper or a shotgun. I think this is definitely not a sniper situation, or at least probably isn't. So we'll probably leave you as is there. Let's just take a quick look at our equipment here, because it has been so long since we last used either Ashley or Tally. There's a chance that we have, yes, perhaps much better equipment to throw on here. So if we are going to have you use an assault rifle, might as well make sure it's a good one. Ooh. Firestorm versus Tornado. I mean, one of those could very well end up going to Tally, because, again, she can, of course, use shotguns. So, do we prioritize the damage on Ashley or Tally? I think this is just a... I want to say the Firestorm is probably a little bit better. Let's maybe throw that one on Ashley. I mean, I suppose it's less likely for Ashley to be using her shotgun just because she has so many other alternatives, whereas Tally is almost always going to be on the shotgun, so you could potentially prioritize it that way. Also, this is rank 7, this weapon, and once you get to rank 7, you get an additional weapon upgrade. Right now we're looking at ammo, but we may be able to improve that as well. We have incendiary rounds 6, which is not bad. Damage over time, and could potentially go a different route here, like damage versus organics. It's a little bit more direct damage in this case. Maybe we throw that on instead. And then armor. Okay, we did already throw on the really good armor that we picked up a little while ago. So chances are, although we may be able to get small improvements in some categories, I think we probably still have the best overall armor for Ashley equipped right now, unless maybe on the upgrade side we might be able to improve things a bit. Yeah, like ablative coating for 10% damage protection when we have a better version for 14%. Why not? We'll throw that on instead. And then Tally, it's going to be hard to get armor for you, because Quarians, namely Tally, do have, or they can only wear, Quarian-specific armor. So that makes things a little bit tougher to find those. Then, like I was saying, shotguns, ooh, this is interesting. We would improve heatsink capacity, so she can, or actually, no, it's the same amount of heatsink capacity. Lower accuracy, lower damage. I think we just stick with what we have here. Although you do get the chance to throw on an additional upgrade slot because it is rank 7. Actually, did we even do anything with that extra spot when we were talking about it with Ashley? We did not on the shotgun, at least. Let's maybe make a point of doing that now. So, weapon stability on a shotgun is not a bad idea, per se. We also just generally don't have very many upgrades at all here. So, I think we have so many stabilizers, why don't we throw one on here? In fact, I think that's what she has in her other slot as well, based on that little indicator there. The art for it. In the square. So then, for Tally, I mean, it's a small damage downgrade, it's a very small accuracy downgrade, and like I said, the heatsink capacity is the same. So I think we probably do make the switch, and the reason for that is, again, because even if the stats are slightly worse, at the very least we can throw on an additional either kinetic stabilizer or recoil damage, just a weaker version of the same type of thing. High caliber barrel for some damage. I mean, wasn't this? Oh, it had the same amount of heatsink capacity. So losing heat absorption, I don't know. I think we probably do just stick with the kinetic stabilizer. So I think that's just about it in terms of things we can do for Tally. Oh, unless maybe we have upgrades we can do here. First aid interface 2 for 1.5 life regeneration per second. I hope we have something better than that. We have at least put on higher level versions of that same ability, that same upgrade, on other people. Though they are, of course, sitting in the Normandy right now. Whereas Tally, okay, here we go, is out in the field. So, Toxin Resistance and some health regeneration, that definitely is better than, or it's a higher health regeneration number, and also gives that Toxin Resistance, so definitely preferable there. Alright, now let's, could potentially even save here now that we've just actually set up our team. Let's do that. Again, I think on this planet in particular, it's a little bit more meaningful to drop those saves, so let's open the door, and we can see the enemies. Some movement here. There's some kind of, like, force field? Oh! Yeah, there are definitely some things in there. And we have this diagnostic station we can use. But first, let's focus on moving around here, because you'll see there are maybe, 3 enemies in there? There are definitely more than 3 red dots on our minimap. So there appear to be additional enemies out here. So before we mess around with those guys in the container, let's focus on the Cerberus Commandos that absolutely did just make me jump out of my seat. So, these guys, they are actually quite powerful. So let's stasis one of them before it causes too many problems. Then there is a technician over there who will use... So this guy is... Commando is usually either pure soldier or soldier plus biotics of some variety. So this is the guy who stasis. Technician presumably means they have some tech abilities. So if we could say, do something like damping to prevent you from using abilities, that'd be great. We can see them starting to throw one at us. So we took out the guy who was in stasis, so that's good. Now, as for this guy, let's incapacitate you in some variety. Move against the wall. Yeah, you are not dead. You are not dead. In fact, you are doing something. For whatever reason, his life bar is not showing up right now. He's trying to chase us down. Oh, this is actually Commander. This is not the technician anymore. That might have been somebody entirely different. Presumably was. Actually not sure who they're shooting at right now. But there is still a technician back there. Okay. They're trying to take cover. We do have stasis back. So let's do that. Excuse me? They avoided the stasis? That's against the rules? Lift you? I mean, you're about to die anyway, but... There we go. Okay. So I believe we... Oh, no. I was going to say I thought we had taken care of everybody, but there is still someone over here. I think that's actually a biotic ability, not a tech ability. But I could be wrong about that. Because that just threw Ashley on the ground. I think that's probably a throw. But let's move in a little bit here. They just insist on hiding around this cover. We do not yet have stasis back. We can throw you, though. Return the favor a bit. So now that you're down on the ground, let's maybe... We could... You still have overload? You do, Tally. You could use it. We could use it as well. We might have a better angle. Okay, so down they go. And now I am fairly certain that we've taken care of all of the Cerberus-related people. We just have whatever the heck these things are. And they do seem to be trying to swarm us. So let's maybe make sure that we try to approach from an angle where they are not right on the border. Like, we might have a little more time if we say activate here, because this will get rid of that barrier and now send out some Thorian creepers on us. So let's maybe do a... I think we're going to want to do some kind of crowd control here. So let's go... I think on us, we're going to want to lift. Then this is where having other people who can use biotics would be quite helpful. They don't appear to have shields, so overload doesn't matter much. I'm not sure if damping does anything to them or not. It may. I'm not sure. Why don't we throw immunity on Ashley just because she is right next to them? So she drew the short stick here. Tally, I think, is right next to us. Yeah, Tally's right next to us. We're on the opposite side as well. But Ashley is right in the thick of things.
Charging up.
And this creeper is just like flying over to us. And we've shot it to death. Shot that one to death. Now we just have this guy. Can we freeze you? Stasis, we can. Remember, our friends will not shoot people when they are in stasis. There was no sign of Kahoku among the creeper corpses. He must be at one of the other labs in the area. Okay, so that's the last of whatever those things were.
All clear.
But let's now take a look at the various medical stations, and I think there are perhaps many of them here. So if we take a second to break in... Oh, I did not mean to do that. This is such a good opening, though! And then I botched it a bit. Alright, still plenty of time to do that. Okay, we have heavy human armor, Phoenix 7, ooh, and then Chameleon Tool is an Omni Tool. Those are very tough to get, so that's definitely a nice pickup. See what else we can get here. Okay, hold on. Lots of red. Now it opens up. And more Omni Tools. I think that's the same one, same level. And finally, we were just talking about how it's hard to pick up Quarian armor, but there it is, a level 7 piece of Quarian armor, so that's big as well. We'll want to take a look at just how good that that Omni Tool is, because we have 2 of them now, and what with it being level 7, if it's decent, then we could potentially put it on a couple of people. And here we get more of the same Quarian armor, and Turian armor of the same variety. And then for this, let's find a good opening maybe here. Now, Biotic Amp. Okay, level 7, that's another hard thing to get. And a heavy human armor. Also see, ooh, this little technician kit, which has some armor and grenade upgrades. So that's great. Let's take a look at our equipment. We may have also gotten some after fighting all the enemies in this area. We got a pistol, a new shotgun. Ooh, Armax is one of the good manufacturers, so that could very well be a better shotgun for Tally to use. We were just talking about how we put a level 7 shotgun on her, even though it wasn't a great one. Then Shredder rounds, I'm usually a fan of those. Energized Weave, also decent upgrade there. Let's see, so if we go to Ashley, we were talking about, we did get, yeah, level 7 heavy human armor, but again, because her existing armor is very strong, I think it's very unlikely that we'll want to change that around. This is just a better version of her sniper, so I think we probably do want to go that route. Then pistol, we're not really worrying too much about your pistol, because you have so many other weapons that the chances of you needing to use your pistol, extremely low. Then shotgun, this is the one we were looking at, and it does look quite good. Lower on the damage side of things, but very good on the heatsink capacity and accuracy. So that's likely what we're going to want to throw on Tally. And assault rifle wise, probably going to stick with what you have. Let's look at Tally though, because shotgun, yeah, this is just objectively better in every possible way. So let's definitely do that. Then the other thing is, we might also want to give you a pistol upgrade here. Pretty bad heatsink capacity, in fact, very bad heatsink capacity. Very good damage and solid accuracy. And because pistol and shotgun are the only 2 weapons that Tally is trained on, there is a possibility that if, say, her shotgun gets overloaded, then she'll need to switch to her pistol. So there is some reason, at least, to have her using a decent pistol. And because it's now level 7, that does allow us to throw on an additional upgrade here. Sometimes, what with the pistol being not the best in terms of damage, that means that we perhaps focus on instead using the weapon upgrade slot to throw on combat scanners. Still, we are quite light when it comes to weapon upgrades as a whole. So, yeah. I mean, sure, I guess we'll throw a stabilizer on. Might not even want to put the best one on, because this is her secondary weapon. And, like you're saying, a secondary weapon that may not get used, or is not all that powerful when it does get used. But here is the new Quarian armor, and it is, yes, absolutely an upgrade. Let's throw that on. Not a huge fan of the color scheme. And by not a huge fan, I mean I kind of hate the color scheme. But it is definitely worth using here. And so I think at this stage, what we're looking to do is just check out those other research facilities. Diagnostic station? Did we not get this?
Looks like Cerberus has other bases on this world, Commander.
Oh, okay. Ooh, almost missed this. Hold on. Just barely snuck that one in. So, human armor of the same variety. medium, and light. And I don't think we checked if it's an upgrade for us, but I think we have basically a similar type of armor to Ashley, so if it's not an upgrade for Ashley, it's probably not an upgrade for us. I think we've now picked up everything. And I'm fairly certain if we just look at our map here, there is an area, in theory, down here, but I'm not sure if we can actually go through it. So it's in the direction we're pointed. Just double check, or at least I thought it was. Maybe that was in the direction someone else was pointed. Well, there's no actual... That's the way out, I think. Yeah, this would be the way in to that other area, but as you can see, this, what would normally be a door, is not actually a door, or at least we can't actually open it, so there's no way for us to go any further into this facility. This is all we can do here. So let's carry on. And as you can see, this is a mission where, at least when it comes to this research facility, got a lot of loot from it. And if the other facilities are anything like this, then certainly in total we will find ourselves picking up a lot of stuff on this planet. So for that reason, potentially worth even making a point of selling things before you get here, so you don't hit your inventory limit. Alright, so let's hop back into the Mako. And let us make a point of marking our next spot on our map, right there. And we may deliberately just go a little bit further to the edge of the map here first, just so that we explore this planet in its entirety. Make sure we don't miss anything that is not marked on our map right now. Even if, at least at the moment, that does mean heading in the opposite direction of our marker that we just set. You know, we'll basically, as we often do, more or less just run the perimeter of the planet. For that reason, see if we can find any additional minerals or debris of some variety. At least as of right now, yeah, here we go. We're now seemingly reaching the northern edge as well. Nothing as of yet. So now we're headed back toward the other research facility. And that may be it that we're seeing off the distance there. Certainly looks like it may be. And last time we saw there were some turrets hanging out on the outside of it. We want to be careful that we don't find ourselves storming straight in and getting blown to smithereens. This is not exactly the best angle of approach, at least when it comes to having cover. And yeah, we are still seeing some red dots on our map, same size, suggesting that they are likely turrets over there, but I still don't like the angle we're approaching from, because yep, those turrets are in fact firing at us already. Let's see if we can hit one here. Not actually sure if that hit us or not. Ooh, or if I hit us, I mean... turret. Ooh, look at that, though. Looks like we have just enough of a barrier that they can't hit us from here, or at least doesn't look like it. Okay, now we have, in fact, taken out what appears to be the last of those turrets. So, hold on. Come on, Mako. So there's another entrance. Again, let's just take a quick loop around, make sure we're not missing anything here. At least at the moment, it appears as though those turrets are the only things in this area. So let's hop out. And technically, I think the bug is based on the first of the research facilities. So we may be out of the woods now, we may be safe from that, but just in case, we'll be a little bit aggressive with our saves. Okay, so now, just check our map again here. Same type of layout for this science station here, and we didn't see anything of note in the entryway in the previous facility, and it looks like that'll also be the case here. But once again, we're seeing red dots, so it's not going to be easy. And let's just make sure... Shotgun, assault rifle, pistol, that's fine. What do we have? So again, some kind of barrier here, blocking what may look a little bit familiar. Some green insect-like creatures in there. And then once again, I suspect, based on how we saw, what, maybe just a couple of those green guys? Probably a little bit more than that. But I would imagine we're going to find ourselves running into a few more of those Cerberus enemies, and they were tough. I mean, we were, for the most part, able to isolate them last time, which definitely helped. But we'll have to proceed with a little bit of caution here. Yeah, I think there are several on that side, so I'm not so keen on charging straight in from that angle. Once again, we see these types of things here, where we could perhaps trigger this diagnostic station and remove this barrier, send these things out into the world, but let's refrain from doing so for now. Instead, let's focus on the Cerberus Commando and Research Technician. This is the same combo we saw last time. Let's definitely stasis one of them. And then this one is charging us, so let's maybe throw you. And we definitely want to make sure that we're hitting the one in stasis, because we're going to be the only one that does attack him. He's down. Whoa! That commando might have been dead, but I did not even see this guy come up on us, so that was the technician. This is the commando. Let's sabotage your weapons, so that you need to change weapons. Then let's overload your shields, so that you lose those. And now let's lift you up. And I believe he is blown up. Directly overhead, perhaps, in fact. Alright, we've got our shields back. I don't think we're done just yet. Yep, because we know there's a Cerberus sniper over here. Now, that makes me a little bit concerned. Snipers, when they do hit you, can hit you quite hard indeed. So, I mean, that would be a great target for something like sabotage, but at least as of right now, we are still on cooldown for that. We could freeze you. Like so. Oh, there are two snipers. Oh, no, we stasis the technician, not the sniper. I would have liked the sniper, probably. Let's throw the sniper in that case, if we can, and try to blast this guy's head off. Okay, we've done that much. Okay, the sniper is sort of blending in there, in that cover. I would love to actually be able to hit her from here. There we go. Down she goes, and we did in fact level up in the process as well. By the looks of things, we're seeing three red markers that all appear to be within this blue barrier. So I think that's all we have left in terms of enemies here. Let's just take a look at the level that we just picked up as a team here. So we could throw in additional points into stasis. We are looking to increase the duration on that. Let's just look at our alternatives. I mean, for 1 point we get an advanced barrier. Don't see myself using it all that much. I think perhaps, especially on, we're not on the highest difficulty, so may not be quite as necessary. But you know, at least when we're expecting to perhaps get sniped, as we just were, occasionally I'll throw it on. But in the absence of that, I am thinking that perhaps, don't think, we may not have the ability to go all the way up to Master Unity and Master Stasis as well. So it's a question of which one would we prefer, which one do we prioritize, because we might have to live without the other. And I think, let's see, Master Stasis gets us all the way up to 21 damage. For the most part, it seems as though whenever we find ourselves stasising somebody, we are locking them down for long enough that we can already take them out. You know, the additional duration at least doesn't make a huge difference in the sense that, you know, we can already kill the enemy that we're putting in a stasis. It's more so, I think, the additional value from this comes from if you are completely overwhelmed and you have numerous people rushing you down, you could potentially stasis somebody and not even immediately focus on fighting them. You could instead just forget about them for a few seconds, use other abilities like throw or lift to deal with other people and shoot them, take them out, and still, even once you've done that, have the first person that you stasis continue to be in stasis, and so you're still safe from them even then. Might even have enough time to still shoot them to death. So that's I think the big value from it. Also, recharge time at the moment, what are we on for it? We're on 50-second recharge, whereas this reduces it down to 40. So, I mean, bear in mind, that's sort of the base duration, the base recharge time. We have other abilities that are passive abilities that increase our ability duration and reduce our cooldown speed. So once you start factoring those things in, might actually get to the point where we can more or less use stasis, and as soon as the enemy becomes unstasis, we can go back and restasis them, and basically just do a permanent stasis on at least one enemy at a time. So that is, in theory, an interesting prospect. But the alternative is load up on Unity to make it so that we get, what? We would go from 40 health and 75 shields when we bring someone back from the dead to 50 and 100% health and shields, respectively. So that's an incremental 10 health and 25 shields. And along the way, we'd pick up damage and duration of powers by an additional... What are we on right now? 3.5%, so we'd get an additional 1.5% on that, and an additional, in terms of health, we're at 7.5 right now. We'd go, so again, 1.5 on that. A little bit more accuracy, too. I mean, those numbers just, they aren't really big enough to catch my attention all that much. I mean, those are useful things to have. Health, damage, and duration, yes. But, you know, 1.5%, are we going to notice any difference at all? Perhaps not. Whereas I think stasis might be something that we do notice more. So I think we focus on that. And then for Ashley, we were, what? Trying to get you up to Advanced Carnage, which we can now do, so I think we definitely do that. Then Tally, we were sort of combining the defenses of Electronics and Quarian Machinist with the additional shotgun stuff. So we did get to Advanced Carnage last time, but we might even make the push for Master Carnage, because at this rate, you already have a ton of shields, so not sure how much of a difference an additional 60 is going to make. So perhaps, I mean, it'd help for sure, but I think we might prefer giving you a little bit more power offensively, because that is, for the most part, where your abilities are lacking. So let's go with that. Okay. And we also pick up some additional equipment from those enemies that we just fought. Guess what? Saying how we needed more weapon upgrades, but it's pretty much just kinetic stabilizers, and it will continue to be the case here. Medical interface is the ability we are using, the upgrade we're using, for many of our chest plates. Just see, we're using Medical Exoskeleton 8. Ashley is not using it just because she already has some built-in regeneration, so it's not as necessary for her. But Tally, I know, was using it as well. Hers was only 5. So yeah, this is just a better version. So it goes from 2.7 health regeneration to 3.3, so gaining 0.6, that's not bad. And then Toxin Resistance going from 40 to 60%. And that is particularly important for Tally because, again, Toxin damage is capable of completely ignoring shields, going straight to health. And that is one of Tally's biggest weaknesses, is she has huge shields, but has very little health. So any enemies that can do that, ignore her shields, become very dangerous for Tally. So if you can load up on that Toxin Resistance, that is a big deal for her. What enemies can deal toxic damage? Well, the list includes, but is not limited to, those enemies that are on the other side of this blue barrier. So Tally, if, you know, say you just, like, took a little bit of a step back here and have both of you guys just go back there as we unleash the Rachni workers. So, of course, we saw some of these guys on Novaria. That didn't work against these, you don't feel much. Entirely fair to tell you the truth. We've eliminated the threat at this facility. Continue to one of the other nearby labs.
I wonder what Cerberus
one of them did hit us, in
will
fact.
find at the next base.
Yeah.
Area secured.
So, one of the reasons why I was deliberately waiting to do this mission was because, as we just saw, there are some Rachni that show up here, and it just feels like, since the Rachni are supposed to be, well, an extinct species that we only first discover on Novaria, and then we see how Saren and Benezia have been doing some crazy stuff to bring them back from the dead, that feels like that would have been a little bit less impactful if we had already encountered them in some random side mission. So it's a little strange, but for that reason, that's why I was deliberately waiting to do this one until we had finished Novaria. And so the presence of Rachni, and the fact that Cerberus has found a way to acquire them, should certainly raise an eyebrow for that reason. given how they're supposed to be completely extinct. So, let's take another look at our map here, and I think we're going to, continue going counterclockwise around, and that means we'll likely end up at this debris, but we won't go directly there. We're just going to want to see what else is in that west or northwestmost corner, just in case there's anything else, because usually we find there's more than one set of minerals.